$245. That's what a frying pan costs now, not a set. One pan, Robin's Egg Blue Gold Handle, sold out twice this year, and there is a pan sitting in Walmart right now, on a bottom shelf, in a plain box with no color and no name you'd recognize, built the exact same way, same layers, same metal, same everything that actually decides whether your food burns. $52. Nobody buys it. Not because it's hidden, it's right there at eye level, in the store you were already in this week. Nobody buys it because it doesn't look like anything. It has no personality. It just sits there being correct, while the pretty one gets carried to the register. Today, I'm giving you 5 of them. 5 cookware brands you have walked past 100 times. Sold at Walmart, at Costco, at Target, at IKEA, and at one store in your town you have driven by for 30 years, thinking you weren't allowed inside. Some of these companies have been pouring metal since the 1800s. One of them supplies hospital kitchens. One of them is in every restaurant in America and has never once run an advertisement pointed at you. And after I give you all 5, I'm going to give you something better than the list, because brands change, lines get discontinued, prices move, so I'm going to teach you a 4-second test you can run on any pan in any store with your own 2 hands, and you will never need me or anybody else to tell you whether a pan is good again. I'll also tell you the 3 letters stamped on the bottom of a pan that mean a health inspector already approved it, and the one kind of cookware where you should never spend more than $30 in your life, no matter who's selling it. I'd guess about half of you have $200 of it in your kitchen tonight. Stay with me, even if your cabinets are already full, even if you burn toast, even if you're standing in an aisle right now, on your phone trying to decide. Especially then, let me tell you first why the good ones went quiet. Because there are people online who'll say a room full of executives is hiding good cookware from you. Nobody is. What actually happened is simpler, and it's worse. A good pan lasts 30 years. That is a miserable business to be in. You sell one, and you never see that customer again. So somewhere around 20 years back, the companies that wanted to grow stopped selling pans and started selling kitchens, colors, matching sets, a look you'd want to change when the look changed. That isn't evil. That's just what works. And the companies that didn't play along kept stamping out heavy pans for diners and school cafeterias and church basements. They never went anywhere. They just stopped talking to you. They sell to people who order by the case. Their catalogs don't have a photograph of a woman laughing in a white kitchen. Their pans come wrapped in brown paper. So the good ones are all still on the shelf. They just got quiet, and the loud ones moved to the front. Here they are. Number 5, Tramontina, Walmart, Sam's Club, sometimes Costco, Brazilian company, making metal goods since 1911. They are enormous. They're just enormous somewhere else, which is why the name means nothing to you. They make a tri-ply stainless line, and it's built properly. Aluminum running all the way up the walls, instead of just a plate stuck onto the bottom. Handles held on with rivets instead of a weld. Oven safe, hot enough that you know there's no plastic buried in that handle. They also make a version built to restaurant spec. Heavier, plainer, no fuss at all. Last several times I looked. A 10-inch skillet from that line ran somewhere between $40 and $60. Prices move, so don't hold me to the dollar. Now sit with that for a second, because this is the whole video in one sentence. That is the same construction the household names charge $150, $180, $200 for. You are not buying a worse pan. You are declining to buy a magazine ad. One caution, and it applies to nearly everything on this list. Tramontina makes a lot of lines, including cheap ones and colorful non-stick sets. The name on the box does not protect you. That's exactly why I'm giving you the test later instead of only a list. Number 4, Lodge, Walmart, Target, and every hardware store in America. Some of you just rolled your eyes because everybody's heard of Lodge, but hearing about a thing and owning it are 2 different animals, and I'll bet I know know what's in your cabinet. A nonstick set you replace every 3 years, and not one piece of cast iron. South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Pouring iron since 1896. Still that same town. $20 to $25, depending on the size and where you catch it. For that, you get a pan that sears a steak better than anything else you own because it holds its heat instead of dumping it the second cold meat hits the surface. It goes in the oven at any temperature, on a grill, in a campfire. There's no coating to fail because there is no coating. The slickness comes from oil you cook into it over time, which means it is the only thing in your kitchen that gets better the longer you own it, and nobody will ever sell you a second one, which is precisely why nobody advertises it. 2 honest warnings, because I'm not going to hand you a pan and let you be disappointed in it. It is genuinely heavy. If you've got wrist trouble or shoulder trouble, a 12-inch is a lot of pan. Get the 10 and go easy on acidic things early on. A long tomato sauce will strip that seasoning right back off and pick up a faint taste of a nail. If you want the lighter cousin, Lodge makes carbon steel too, usually $35. Same principle, half the weight, heats faster. That's the pan restaurant cooks have used for 100 years. Look at any professional egg station and you are looking at a pan that costs less than dinner out. Number 3 is the store you've never walked into. This is the one nobody tells you about. Nearly every mid-sized town in this country has a restaurant supply store. It's out where the tire shops are. Name like City Restaurant Supply. Sign hasn't been touched since Nixon. Most of them are open to the public. You don't need a business license. You don't need to know anybody. You just walk in. Inside, on steel racks in brown boxes, are the brands the restaurants actually buy. Winco, Update International, Vollrath. That last one is Sheboygan, Wisconsin, a family company going back to the 1870s, and their pans are in hospital kitchens and school kitchens and diners that have been open continuously since before I was born. Ask out loud for the heavy gauge aluminum sauté pans and the stainless mixing bowls. The aluminum ones are usually shockingly cheap, and aluminum moves heat better than nearly anything. The bowls will run you a few dollars each, and you will use them until you die, and then your children will use them. What you'll notice walking those aisles is that everything in there is ugly and correct. No colors, no handle shaped like a swan. All of it built to survive being dropped on tile by an 18-year-old at 11 at night. Number 2, IKEA. And I mean it. IKEA sells a stainless line called 365 Plus. The tri-ply pieces in it have the seamless bottom, the clad wall, the riveted handle. Same construction principle as everything else we've talked about. The prices are low enough that most people assume something must be wrong with it. Nothing's wrong with it. It's a Swedish company that moves volume and doesn't need a margin on a frying pan. Same caution as Tramontina. They sell simpler, cheaper pieces in the same family, and the aluminum nonstick items are a different animal entirely. And while you're in there, the plain steel bowls and the colanders are the same story. Restaurant-grade goods with a Swedish name and no advertising budget aimed at your kitchen. Number 1 is the boring end of Costco, the house brand, Kirkland Signature. Costco has an unusual habit for a retailer. They cap how much they'll mark a product up. They'd rather sell you the membership than squeeze you on the item, which means the house brand goods there are routinely built better than their price makes any sense for, because the entire business is built on you walking to your car feeling like you got away with something. Their cookware isn't there every month, and I won't pretend otherwise. Costco rotates stock hard. A set that's there in October is gone by December. But when the stainless sets and the enameled cast iron Dutch ovens show up, look at at what the famous version of that same object costs 300 yards away in a department store. And I'll be square with you on one thing, because you'll see it repeated everywhere. People love to claim Costco's cookware is secretly made in the same factory as some designer brand. Sometimes house brands are made by big manufacturers. Sometimes they aren't. It changes, and they don't tell us. So don't buy it because of a rumor about a factory. Buy it because you turned it over and looked at it yourself. Which brings me to the part I've been saving. Everything I just gave you has an expiration date. Lines get killed. Factories change hands. A brand that's honest this year gets bought next year and starts cutting corners. This next thing doesn't expire. This is what I actually want you to keep. 4 seconds, 4 things. First one, pick it up. That's the whole first step. Just lift it. A good stainless pan is heavy in a specific way. Not heavy like a rock, heavy in the bottom. Hold it by the handle, and if it wants to tip forward out of your hand, that's aluminum sandwiched into the base. And that is exactly what you want, because stainless steel by itself is genuinely poor at moving heat. On its own, it gives you a scorching ring right over the burner and cool dead spots an inch away. Every expensive pan you have ever heard of is solving that one problem, and every one of them solves it the same way. A layer of aluminum wrapped in steel. The only real question is how much aluminum and where. Second, turn it over and find the seam. Look at the edge where the bottom meets the side. If you see a little lip or a ring there, like a plate got stuck onto the bottom of a bucket, that's a disc bottom pan. The aluminum is only in that disc. Cook in it, and the bottom runs hot while the walls stay cool. Sauce sticks at the edge. Eggs cook in a circle. It's fine for boiling water, and that is the end of the list. If the bottom flows straight up into the wall, with no seam at all, one continuous piece that's fully clad, the aluminum goes all the way up. The whole pan heats. That is the construction that costs $180 with a famous name stamped on it. Third, tilt the rim to the light, the very top lip. On a clad pan, you can often see the layers, a stripe of gray between 2 brighter lines about the width of a pencil mark. Once you've seen it one time, you will see it forever in every store for the rest of your life. Fourth, check the handle and check the number. Where the handle meets the pan, look for 2 or 3 chunky rivets or a spot weld. Rivets last, welds break, and they break at the worst possible moment, which is when the pan is full. Then find the oven-safe temperature on the box. 500 degrees means that handle is metal all the way through. 350 means there's plastic or resin in there, and in about 6 years it'll go chalky and work loose. Weight, seam, rim, rivets, 4 seconds, and now you know more than whoever stocks that aisle. Now the 3 letters I promised you. At the restaurant supplies store, and on a lot of the plainest pans at Walmart and Costco too, turn the pan over and look for 3 letters stamped into the metal, NSF. That's a certification. It means the piece was reviewed against a commercial food safety standard. The shape of it, the joints, the finish, whether food or bacteria can hide anywhere in a seam. It's the mark a health inspector looks for. Nobody advertises that to a home cook because it doesn't sound like anything. It isn't a feeling. It isn't a color. You can't put it on a box in gold foil. But to a restaurant, it means that pan is legal to use in front of a paying customer. If you find those letters on the bottom of a $50 pan, somebody with a clipboard already did your homework. Now, before I tell you the one aisle at Costco with the lowest markup in the entire warehouse, everything I've covered on this channel is now in one place. What to buy, what to walk past, aisle by aisle, store by store, with the actual names. The link is down in the description, but stay right here because this next rule is going to save some of you real money this month. Here it is. Never spend more than $30 on a nonstick pan, ever, for any reason. Not because nonstick is bad. I own one. I use it for eggs. I like it. But you have to understand what it is. That coating is a consumable. It starts wearing out the day you open the box. Every time it's heated, every time a spatula crosses it, every trip through the dishwasher, 3 years, maybe 5 if you're careful. Then it's finished and it's landfill. That is not a pan, that's a supply. So when somebody sells you a nonstick pan for $180, and they do, and they are extremely good at it, with the color and the sunlit kitchen and the woman who cooks in jewelry, what they have sold you is a 3-year part at a 30-year price. Buy the cheap one. Buy it guilt-free. Replace it when it's tired. Then take the difference and put it into 1 clad stainless skillet and 1 piece of cast iron, and you are done buying cookware for the rest of your life. 2 smaller ones. Walk past anything sold as a 14-piece set. That count is padded with lids, a utensil, and 2 pans you will never once touch. You need 3 pans, not 14, and walk past any pan where the handle is welded on with no rivets, no matter how lovely the rest of it looks. My neighbor Diane did all of this last spring. 68 years old, tiny kitchen. She'd been buying a whole new set every 4 or 5 years for as long as I've known her. The coating went, the handles got loose, and she figured that's simply what pans do. She bought 1 clad 10-inch skillet at Walmart. 1 Lodge, the 10-inch, $20-some. Then she drove out past the highway to that restaurant supply place she'd been passing for 30 years, thinking she wasn't allowed in, and she walked out with 3 steel bowls and a sauté pan for less than a nice lunch. That's her whole kitchen now. She told me last week that she's not buying pans again, and she seemed almost annoyed about it, like somebody owed her the last 40 years back. Here's what I want you to hold on to. Aluminum spread heat evenly in 1960, and it spreads heat evenly tonight. Iron held its temperature in 1896, and it holds it now. Nobody has improved on any of this because there is nothing left to improve. The only thing that has changed in your lifetime is how much money somebody is willing to spend convincing you otherwise. A pan does not know what it cost. It only knows how it was built. The heavy ones are still on the shelf. They're just down at the end of the aisle where the lighting's bad. So do one thing for me. Go to your kitchen, pick up the pan you use the most, turn it over and look at that bottom edge for a seam. Then tell me in the comments what you found, seam or no seam, and what you paid for it. That's all I want to know. I read every one, and what you tell me decides which store we walk through next. And subscribe, not for me, because next week I'm taking you into the one aisle at Costco where the markup is lowest in the whole warehouse. It is not the aisle you're thinking of, and once you know it, you will never shop that store the same way again.